Chip, can you explain, does this team going backwards right now, does it feel like that to you?
I mean, I don't think forward backwards, but we're not doing what we need to do to be successful on Sundays right now. You know, you come out to start the second half, and defense does do gets a 3 and out, and we're moving in the right direction, and then we fumble the punt, you know, and then our first series offensively in the third quarter, you know, we have a sack fumble. You know, we're turning the football over too many times to be successful right now.
What happened on that punt play?
Our returner was signaling for a fair catch. He should be calling that he's signaling for a fair catch. I haven't talked to Burbridge yet. I don't know if he had heard what was going on. He was the gunner, but the gunner ran into the punt returner on that play.
Consistency, you had a great opening drive and then struggle soon after that. What is it about, what's keeping you from being consistent quarter to quarter?
You know, that's the key, I think, right there, is that you have to be able to sustain it, you know what I mean? And then obviously over the course of an entire game, you know, it just can't be in spurts, and right now it's in spurts, and then with playing in spurts like that, it's just not good enough, you know. And I think part of it's the little teeny things. Again, we didn't have many penalties, but the penalties that occur on third down. You know, we have a third down, but we have an offensive tackle lined up in the backfield. We converted on that third down, but now we have a penalty that brings us back. You know, the turnovers, the back-to-back turnovers from a drive standpoint to start the third quarter, you know, obviously affected you. You know, you're playing, at least in the beginning of our defense went out there and thought they played well in that first series. You know, and now we get a stop. Now we get a chance to, you know, put the ball in our offense's hands and let's get moving, but then we turn it over on special teams. So it is that consistency that's holding us back.
What about your decision to go for a field goal when you were down 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, it was 3rd and 11 or 12. You know, we didn't, and I don't think we were getting a whole lot of time. They do a good job of putting the ball in the end zone, so we were just trying to get anything at that point in time, point-wise. It put us down 10. Is what it put us down. So it put us down a touchdown and a field goal at that point in time. I think there was 8 minutes to go in the game. You felt that you were going to at least get 3 drives left, so we could still convert. You know, either get a field goal or a touchdown, and then you put yourself in a situation. We just didn't feel like throwing the ball in from there that we were going to get it completed and score anything. So we wanted to come away with some points at that point.
What adjustments did you make at halftime?
In terms of what? On offense, you know, we talked about, you know, protection, you know, in terms of being able to, it was a very difficult, we had some matchup problems, I think, with McCoy, you know, when he got isolated and was in one-on-one. So we had to make sure that we had some help to his side in terms of who we were, whether it was a back on the way out. You know, we got to get our back in there to make sure that we have a protection with that 3 technique in terms of where he is. So most of the talk at halftime was about protection.
So if you have a bye coming up, will you consider any changes to your defensive coaching staff?
No.
Spend more time with Jim and Neil during the week?
No, we spend time together during the week. You know, we carve out time in terms of how we watch film and what we do, and then understand the plan as we're moving forward. So, you know, there's good communication going on from that standpoint. So it's not like I don't know what's going on the defensive side of the ball.
How do you evaluate Kaepernick's play today?
I think it was up and down. You know, I think there were some times, and again, I think if there was one thing that you could just put your finger on and say, hey, it's this, you know. He obviously kept some things alive and kept some drives alive with his legs. They were playing a little bit more man coverage than we thought coming into the game. They hadn't played that much man, but they started out playing a lot of man. So obviously he can beat them when they're playing man coverage and everybody's locked up, and now there's no one responsible for the quarterback. But I think sometimes protection broke down for him. We had a couple drops in there that would have sustained some drives that could have kept some things going. And then there were some times where I think he missed some throws also. So it's a combination of the protection, the drops, and not putting the ball where it needed to be. So it wasn't just one thing. I think at times he did a really nice job. So.
Speaking of protection, what did Andrew Tiller do to lose his starting job to Joshua Garnett?
Josh has done a really good job as he continues to grow and learn our offense. Obviously, he missed the springtime for us, you know, so he was a little bit behind as he got here in preseason. But then he's worked his way through preseason and into these games to give himself an opportunity to play, and that's what we've seen from from in-game standpoint and from a practice standpoint.
A large swing of snaps between Gerald Hodges and Michael Lloyd to kind of flip this week. Can you talk about that decision?
Yeah, we just, you know, Mike played a lot against Buffalo, and then evaluating the film, we thought we'd give Gerald another shot to go back in there. So Gerald had a good week of practice, you know, taking that role and kind of running with it. And so we felt comfortable as a staff that we were going to start Haji in there with Ballore, and then also rotate Mike through. We talked about, you know, Nick Ballore playing too many snaps, so trying to rotate those 3 guys through there. So we really had 3 inside linebackers rolling there.
Outside of that trouble at inside linebacker, are there issues on that defensive line while the run defense is getting carved up each week?
I mean, obviously, we've got a couple guys banged up. Dorse couldn't go again today. Armstead went down. I think he tried to go back in, but then was out for the rest of the game. So there's some bumps and bruises along the defensive line, but that's not an excuse. We have to be better on the defensive side of the ball in terms of stopping the run.
Chip, obviously, you guys are now 1-6.
Mm-hmm.
Is this 1-16 talent-wise? What is going on?
I don't look at it that way. I mean, we're a 1-6 team. You are what you are. You are what your record says you are. So we're 1-6 right now.
Fans always want hope. What's the hope for the rest of the season?
That we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to work hard at what we need to do, and we got to get ready to go play the Saints game here when we come back after our bye, and that's all we can.
Chip, a lot of big holes for Tampa Bay runners today. Without watching film yet, do you see mental mistakes from your front seven, or is it more guys getting pushed around? What's going on?
I'd have to look at the film, to be honest with you, to tell you on those specific, exactly when those runs broke, what exactly the deal was. There's a couple of times it looked like we had him wrapped up, and had him in good situations, but he came out of some things. But there were some other times where it looked like he got right through. So, I think, again, I'd have to evaluate the film before I could make a blanket statement on what the reason was for that.
Have you ever gone through a 6-game losing streak in your career previously?
No, I haven't.
And what goes through your mind when you're in the middle of it? Do you get frustrated, get angry, just go?
No, I think anger it doesn't help you. What you got to do is you got to find a solution. And I think if you continue to try to just get mad and get angry and all those other things, it's not going to help you. What you need to do is you need to find a solution to identify what exactly the specific thing that's gone wrong and how do we fix that. And that's what we're trying to do right now.
Do you understand what's going on in the second half? I mean, you guys have been in the games at halftime this week and last week and the week before, and then...
Yeah, I think the two games are totally different. But, again, I think the turn on this point was, those two critical turnovers to start the beginning of the third quarter, I think were the huge things that put ourselves in a big hole, and too big a hole for us to be able to get out of. But, you look at it, as I said, in the framework of the things, our defense went out and did a good job in that first series, did what we asked them to do, create a stop, and then get them to punt the ball and probably going to get the ball in a pretty good situation. We're near midfield, and then all of a sudden we turned it over from a special team standpoint. And those are the things that you can't do against a good football team. So.
All right, thanks, Coach.